Welcome to the Wheel of Prog.
All right. Welcome everybody to a new Wheel of Prog. We are very excited to be doing this one. This one's sort of been a long time coming. One of the bands that I think we all really love. And the more you do these, you find out that there's still many more bands that we still have to get to. So no shortage of that. Joining me on this one is our good buddies Kyle, Victor, and Jeremy. We're going to be doing the Wheel of Queensrÿche. So 16 albums. We're going to be covering the 12 albums with Jeff Tate and then the 4 with Todd Latore that have been the most recent ones. We are not including the Jeff Tate's Queensrÿche Frequency Unknown in the middle, whatever that is. And the covers album, Take Covers, because that's not any good either. So we're going to leave that out as well. How are you all doing, guys?
Doing great. Ready to rock, baby.
Glad to be here.
Doing awesome. Thanks for having us.
Kyle, can we see the Rage tattoo? I think we need to show that to the audience while we're
right off
see
the top.
That's very hardcore right there.
Wow.
There you go.
Funny enough, he doesn't even like that album. Straight D.
No. I just heard it the other day for the first time. It's not bad.
Yeah. Okay,
It's growing on you now.
Yeah.
Literally.
I think
Literally.
Queensrÿche, oddly enough, I haven't counted. They might be the band I've seen the most in a weird, ridiculous way. I don't even. It's
a band that's been around and toured for that many decades. You know, you're an avid concert goer. That makes sense.
yeah. It's got to be in the 15 to 20 range. I
Wow.
would imagine.
Wow.
Probably for you too, Kyle, right?
I gotta be in the mid 30s. I think. I don't ever miss them.
Right.
And since they split, and we'll talk about that as we go through. But since the split happened, I'll go see Jeff and I'll go see Queensrÿche. They're both. Jeff's got some amazing musicians. I just saw them, which I might talk about, and a very cool venue.
Yes, you wouldn't hear that story. In the last few years, since he's been doing the Operation Mindcrime show, whenever they come to Florida, it's been literally the same week as Cruise to the Edge. And Cruise to the Edge will move, like it'll be different weeks, and yet then he'll come and perform during that. So I haven't been able to see that show. This year, he's actually coming at a different time, and I look forward to seeing it. I have seen videos of him doing that show online. He actually sounds like he's singing amazing again, which has been really cool. Because he had a minute there when his voice was on the downswing. But maybe he went to see James LaBrie's doctor. And
wasn't that up
the
in
same thing
Seattle or
happened.
San Francisco? Yeah.
Canadian. I
All right. So let's go ahead and bring up said wheel. This is going to be cool.
That's cool.
All right, got the log. We got all the logos. We got everything straight. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. 5 tiers. We have decided to mix things up a little bit. S tier is gonna be actually let me pull that up. S tier will be 3 albums. Oh, S and A are 3 albums. B is gonna be 4, and then C and D are gonna be 3. And for people watching, we do that to set limits on these. That would makes it more challenging. And if rows get full with the numbers that we set, you can bump albums up and down, which always happens. If you've watched, it's always a little crazy because the album you think is for sure going to be an S or an A tier, someone hates it, and then you never know what happens. So, okay, why don't we do? Okay, I never get to go last.
You go last.
Okay.
Then.
Go last, man. It's your show.
Yeah.
I will go last. All right, so let's do this. Jeremy first.
Yeah.
Victor, Kyle, me.
All right. So
That work?
Cool.
Doing a sort of weird version. All right,
All
let's
right.
start.
Go get him, Jeremy.
I'm gonna forget the order because it's weird. Okay, good starting off point.
Oh.
Promised Lands.
Promised Land.
All right. Let's go.
Coming off of the Empire album, this was going to be hard for any band. And coming into kind of the anti-hairband vibe that was kind of going on, this was actually a pretty good album. some songs that stood out to me. I, Out of Mind, Real World, my Global Mind. I mean, I really like this album. I'm gonna go with A tier for it.
Good start.
I think
Very
A
good
tier works. One quick correction: Real World was not on this record.
No,
It was around the same period. Real
you
World
sure?
was on the Last Action
movies.
Hero
Last
soundtrack.
Action
The
Hero.
soundtrack.
Yep.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But
Well,
same period though.
Same time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think in Spotify,
Yeah.
they list this song with it because when I was,
exactly.
Well, they may have done a reissue where they included it or something. Probably that's what I would imagine. Yeah, it's a good record. Like you said, it was hard to follow. At that point, they had a string of just awesome records in a
Yes.
row, and everybody was really looking forward to this one. I know we were, and it was. They were sort of the proggiest thing going, along with Queensrÿche. I'm sorry, Dream Theater, and there wasn't that much of this kind of style going on. And when I heard I was like, oh, this is going to be their epic. This is going to be great. I like the album. It falls off for me after Damaged. I and Damaged, and then
Wow.
it's like I and Damaged are S tier songs, and then everything else is the kind of A, B, and C, and it's sort of. But overall, I like it.
I like the moodiness of the album.
Yep.
It's an album that Jeff Tate does not go into the huge stratosphere as he's been doing all this time. But it's kind of dark, and I really enjoyed it. Damage is the highlight. That just opening riff is so heavy, and then you get the reverse reverb on his vocals and all that. It was a bit of a drop off from what we had been used to coming before, but it was still an album that front to back I enjoyed. And I remember when it came out, we were all excited about it. And they kind of went through they didn't go through an identity crisis, but the fans that had gotten into Queensrÿche because of Silent Lucidity, which is their biggest hit, this album was nothing like that. For those of us that have been following them for a while, knowing that they were progressive and they just had their own style, this was still a very fun, enjoyable album. The band that I was doing covers with at the time, we did a couple of these songs. So yeah, still there. I agree with the A ranking. Absolutely.
I love this record. I had forgotten how much I did. I don't think there's a bad song on here, to be honest. I know it did lose a lot of people, but around this time, I remember seeing Jeff and DeGarmo in an interview saying, their goal as a progressive band was to be like the Beatles, in that the Beatles changed with every album, right? They didn't stay the same. They didn't just do Love Me Do for a career or Sgt. Pepper's for a career. They did everything. So when they did this, it was way different from the metal, right? The heavier stuff that we heard before. But I loved the change. I thought it was great. You had, Jeff Tate was playing saxophone. DeGarmo was playing like sitar and cello and stuff on this thing. So they pushed, they progressed. That's what it's about. A tier is good for me.
I just think it needed one more Damaged song
I'm with you
on
on
the
that.
second half, like
Yep.
just one more sort of rocker to kind of fill that void in. Because after that, it's kind of a mellow record after those first two songs.
Yes.
The title track is a little bit of an epic, but it takes a while to get there. Yeah.
Yeah. But definitely a good album in their catalog for sure. Okay, Vic.
All right, let's go.
Come on. Ooh.
Okay.
So
There you go.
interestingly enough, that
This
an
is the
EP,
Queensrÿche. Sorry, the Queensrÿche EP, the very first thing.
which is their first thing, which it's interesting way for a band to sort of introduce themselves, kind of historic in that way. And this was not my entry point. I know that Graves has a very interesting story on this from the time that he was, I think you were at the record store, and I've heard your story, which I'll let you say it. But from my standpoint, this is something that I went back to. And I tell you what, 4 songs that are absolutely in that time frame were just wow. Jeff Tate just delivers. They're fast, they're heavy, and I had heard is it Della Brown that's on this? Is that the 4th song? No, oh my God.
No,
Lady Wore
that's
Black.
on Empire.
Lady
Hold
Wore
on.
Black.
Lady Wore Black. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the MTV Unplugged video. They
Right.
performed
Yeah.
Lady Wore Black, and that's when I had researched as to where is this song, because it's such a cool song, and it was from this. And to hear that and Queen of the Reich, and those songs are still being played. So this song, or this EP, their first one, I'm putting it in A tier, since we're only got 3 in the top. This is very good. I put it in front of, and we'll organize them later. But yeah, this is it's a 4-song EP, all killer, and that's where it goes.
No filler.
True.
Yeah. How do you get better than that very first low wail that Tate does it to open it and just go all the way through the roof, man? It's such a great announcement of like, oh, this is different. This is a different kind of metal. You had Halford at the time. Bruce Dickinson was pretty new in Maiden still, but Jeff took it up like 3 notches.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Queen of the Reich is still one of their best songs still.
Yep.
That song holds up, and it's really cool. Thank you to Todd Latore for bringing that song back into the set, and it even forced Jeff Tate to start singing it again.
And they
which has
both
been cool.
do it great. They both are doing it this day, and they do it awesome.
Yeah,
Same
good
key.
stuff.
Same key.
Cool. All right.
Good spot for it. I like it.
Kyle.
Here we go. Come on.
Let's go, KG.
Let's do it. I know what I want. I know what I'm probably. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Operation Mindcrime II. So much to say about this record.
So here is my feeling on this record. It didn't deserve that title. And I think if they had released this record without that title, I think it would have gone way, way different. Because prior to this, this came out in 2006. So prior to this, we had all those 90s records that we'll get to. But they, no spoilers, but they kind of lost the script a little bit. This record, they were metal again. And I'm the first one to say, like, I didn't really listen to Operation Mindcrime II. If I'm in a Queensrÿche mood, I'm going to listen to something classic that I want to hear, right? I'll go back to it once in a blue moon. I listened to it, obviously, to prep for this. And it's really good. It just, that Operation Mindcrime is such a holy grail, kind of title. We all know it. We all love it. That it just, if it had a different thing, I think people would have received it differently. Because there are some really good songs on here. You've got, let's see, what do I have? Rearrange You, Night and Day from anything they've done in the last decade. So go back and listen to this record if you guys are, in a Queensrÿche zone. It was a bunch of studio musicians. It's been widely reported.
That's the thing. It wasn't. Yeah, it's not the full band playing.
The other guys contributed, and then apparently Jeff, took their tracks off and had studio guys do it. So it's kind of a drag that whole thing went down the way that it did. I do love the Dio song, The Chase. I think that's pretty cool. They got
that's
the King.
a cool song.
Yeah, love Dio. But that's the drawback, is that it wasn't technically a true Queensrÿche record. As a standalone thing without the Operation Mindcrime, I think it's a really, really strong record. So I have it. Where do I have it? I've got it in B, in my ranking, the lower part of B. But again, I challenge you guys that you haven't listened to it. I had not listened to it in a long time. Go back and listen to it with fresh ears and just.
I haven't listened to it in a long time, and I did for this. And what's cool about doing these wheels, and maybe this is something that people watching, challenge yourself to do something like this as well, because it reminds you that, that album I thought sucked wasn't as bad, or that album that I thought was bad, or that I liked isn't really that good. It's really wild when you do this. I remember liking it when it first came out, because the last few albums prior I didn't like that much. Yep. So like you were saying, so it was them being more metal again, that kind of stuff. The Hands was at that time one of the best songs they had made in 20 years or 10 years or whatever. Yep. Murderer's really good. Hostage was pretty good. I'm American, good kind of start off to the album. There's some good songs in here. The ending, where it's supposed to be like the epic thing, the ballads and the whole thing, just doesn't hit. It doesn't land, right? It's just
they need to resolve the way that the original Mindcrime resolves, and there's ending to the story. It just kind of peters out. Yeah,
It just kind of peters out. Yeah, totally. So, yeah, B, maybe C for me, but yeah, B's okay. It's better than I thought it was.
Yeah, I actually went with C also. I kind of felt like this album just lacked something. Look, I loved Mindcrime. I think we all did, and like you said, Kyle, once you kind of put this as a follow up, like you gotta deliver.
Yeah.
And I feel like it didn't. And the fact that you had all these studio guys on there, and even with Ronnie and Pamela on it, it just still felt like it just didn't deliver. And so that's why I would have put it in C. But B's okay too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it may move. Yeah. It's a good spot.
All right. My turn.
Let's go, Roy.
Ha 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 ha.
What's happening? What's happening?
Here in the Now Frontier.
In the Now Frontier.
So what I was saying about going back and listening to albums that you thought you didn't like, and then realizing that you like it. This one actually, I remembered not liking it, and I don't like it even more, if that's possible.
Wow.
So yeah, this album is straight garbage. At the time, look. Prior 80s Roie was like Def Leppard, like that was it, right? I liked a lot of things always, right? But the number one was Def Leppard. That was the band. Post Images and Words was Dream Theater. That was the band. Right in the middle was Queensrÿche. That was like the band I was obsessed with for a good 3-year period or something. And I discovered them, got into them rather. I knew about them, but I really started getting into them around Empire. So all this stuff was like backwards. You know what I mean? And so then the first album that I really got to buy was Promised Land, as waiting for them. And so, and that was good. I liked it at the time. And so then the next one was going to be Here the Now Frontier. And this was right during grunge. So it was like, all right, Queensrÿche's going to save us. At least we have that,
Oh,
man. And I just was so gutted, like so disappointed.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And I just wanted to like it so much. I made myself listen to it and listen to it and listen to it. A couple of songs are okay. I don't even remember.
Sign of the Times. That's a good song. It's a good opener.
Voice Inside was maybe my favorite because they opened their show with it. I do remember this. The Voice Inside has that kind of that kind of thing in the beginning, and they opened their concert with it. And I was like, oh, that kind of is cool. Hit the Black maybe is the other good song because that sort of sounds like Mindcrime.
Yep.
The rest I really didn't like. I just don't like it. It doesn't sound like them. And I'm not you got to be metal all the time guy. I like a lot of the things. I just thought it was really, really bad, and I don't like it at all. So, yeah, D.
I don't disagree. To me, it was almost like they tried to be grunge. They're from Seattle. That influence was all there. They try to be grunge, which they never were to begin with, and they failed miserably at grunge. And grunge, even at that time, was, not really grunge anymore. The bands had sort of moved on from that sound. And to me, it was strange that a band that had been so, just groundbreaking in what they were doing in the, during the late 80s, early 90s, and then you get to this, it was a head scratcher. Normally, and what surprises me is DeGarmo had always seemed to be that magic sauce when it comes to the Queensrÿche that just has that sort of extra level of stuff. And his name is all over the compositions on this one, and surprisingly to me, I didn't connect. D is the only place that I could really, just be comfortable with this one. I bought it and I no longer have the CD because I found myself that I nothing really captivated me on.
I had one more quick point. I'll let you guys talk. I don't want to forget it. This was the period where a lot of our favorite bands, or at least for my favorite bands, all went through this identity crisis period.
Yep.
And no fault to them. I mean, Metallica pulled it off, but this was the period of Load and all that. Def Leppard's Slang, Extreme Waiting for the Punchline, all records that were just bands trying to figure out how to survive. Even Poison with that Stand record or whatever it was.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody was trying to do that thing, and most of them were just not good at it. It just wasn't what they did. They were terrible records.
Falling into Infinity with Desmond Child. Dream Theater was trying to, I guess,
That was a little later. That was a little later, but it wasn't. It was nowhere near as bad. Yes, it was them trying to write some hits, and it was nowhere near the level of these bad records.
Correct.
I think this record, number one, was too long, so there were 15 friggin' songs on here. I actually liked it better, A, than I remembered, and B, clearly better than you guys liked it. I thought there were like 7 or 8 good songs. Were they great? Were they classic Queensrÿche? No, but it was the 90s, and like you guys said, they're trying to figure out how to survive. Like if they hadn't kept putting out records and trying new things, metal was dead. They'd have just been dropped and dead in the water. So they had to do something. The one track that stands out to me is All I Want. Go back and listen to that one. That's the one that DeGarmo sings.
DeGarmo sings on that one. That's
so
right.
atypical. Yeah. Like you're listening to it. I went back to listen to it. I don't even remember this song. It's like a Beatlesy blues kind of thing, but with DeGarmo's voice, it's so out of place, but it's a pretty cool song.
Yeah. I also think this was D tier. I mean, this was, for me, grunge-like. So
yeah, it's a good name.
It was recorded in Stone Gossard's studio. So
there you go.
That's,
but
well, they were from Seattle. They were all from Seattle, so
of course,
right.
To be fair,
but this was, like you said, this was so late in the grunge movement that it was weird that like they were going there after it had already kind of been done.
Yeah,
they probably started writing these songs in the mid 90s. Didn't come out till 97, but they probably started writing them when grunge was happening. Who knows?
This was a pretty long break between Promised Land and this album. This one took a while.
3 years.
So.
Yeah. All right.
Now I can see why Chris left. If this was where they were going.
Well, he was clearly over the metal thing. And so he wrote most of this record. This was his vision, clearly.
That's right.
And he was like, well, no one likes this. I'm out. So, all right. Jeremy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Next one.
And Chris DeGarmo, when you see this, chime in the comment.
Boy. Well, here we go. Dedicated to chaos.
Strength to strength, Jeff.
Wait, hold on a second.
We have sound effects now.
Man, if there was ever a better sound effect. All right, go ahead, Jeremy.
God, this was the last album with Jeff Tate. It just kind of felt like this was all kind of piecemealed and just, man, this one lacked. I mean, it just wasn't a good album overall. There were a couple cool songs on it. Hotspot Junkie, Higher, I Take You. I mean, there were some cool songs, but it didn't sound to me like Queensrÿche. It didn't sound like a good album. It just lacked. And so
just do it.
Yeah, just put it where it needs to go.
Just go. Just do it.
Already too much time talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
F tier.
D tier.
I have one. Oh wait, hold on. I have a sound effect for that. This is what I remember from this album. That's the part. You didn't hear it? No.
Was that Around the World?
That
the
was
U2 sounding song.
That's from That's from Got You Bad. Got something. But I don't know. Want You Bad? I don't know what the fuck.
Got It Bad.
There was one song that was like a U2 song. I'm like, what? Like this sounds like it could be a U2 song. Like,
It didn't know what it wanted to be.
as much as I don't like Here and Now Frontier, there's a couple of good songs in that. This to me is their worst album by a good mile. If there was a tier below D, this is where this one would go. And I think it's one of the worst albums by a band I've liked that I've ever listened to. That's what I'll say about it, and I'm done.
I thought maybe if I circled back around to this one, like maybe there'll be that one that I forgot about. Nope. It's, I don't know what it is. The closest, if I had to give it a compliment, he kind of sounds like Bowie in parts. That's literally all I got. I got nothing else.
Oh,
Yeah. No, it's clearly him. It's him just, he's checked out of Queensrÿche. Like he was at this point leading the ship. The guys, all the other guys had no input. And this was just him in his I'm awesome phase and just trying to do whatever because he's a genius and all that stuff, and it just doesn't work.
I suspect
not the band.
It's not the four of us. I would love to know if anybody watching this comments and says, "Oh, it's my favorite Queensrÿche record," or even third or fourth favorite. I'd be interested. I've not met one Queensrÿche fan that likes this record.
Yeah,
maybe they're out there. Let us know.
All right, we're good. We're moving on.
Yeah.
I think we
don't waste time with this, please.
All right, Vic. All right, we got 2 D tiers out of the way. This is good. Maybe we'll get something. So, oh boy.
We're going new school.
All right.
New.
All right.
All right. The verdict.
So, the verdict. We've got the first. I don't know if to say victim or not, but full disclosure, I did the album review for the Prog Report on this album. I am a big fan of Dream Theater's return to form. A lot of people are always saying Dream
Theater or Queensrÿche.
Excuse me. Wow. I'm a big fan of Queensrÿche returning to form. Todd LaTorre just really delivers in this album. Interestingly enough, playing drums as well. This was right at the time when Rockenfield had to take personal time off. And in hindsight, that's when he had left. But the performance on the drums are absolutely, as well as Todd can reproduce the Jeff Tate-like vibe, he had the drums down very well. I reviewed this album. I really like this album. I put this album in B tier, and the Blood of the Levant opening up for it is excellent.
Good song.
Inside Out is good. Propaganda Fashion is good. It's got this really the vibe and the speed and the tempo of the songs and his singing. I think it went back to like an Operation Mindcrime speak type of vibe. Very good, very listenable. It's the thing that I struggle with in putting it in B tier is knowing my S and my A tiers. Is this an album that can really break in that when they were at their peak? And obviously the answer to me, even though this is one of my favorite of the new albums, not quite. Now, the fact that it is in B tier right now with Operation Mindcrime II, in my opinion, it's Operation Mindcrime II is not even close to the verdict. But I guess in the wheel, this is where it falls right now. What do you guys think of the rendition of Queensrÿche with Todd leading the charts?
Love it. Was so happy when it happened. Love Jeff Tate to this day, but there was a reason that change happened, and it was clear that the songwriting was still there, because when it happened, you had 3/5 of the original guys, and these songs came out, and you had a voice that could carry it. I've really dug all the stuff they've done with Todd. It's kind of saved a favorite band that went away from me for a while. It came back.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. He's been awesome. I like all 4 records. I'm not sure if this one is near the top of those 4.
I agree with that.
But still really solid. You know what? I think they realized this is, at this point in our long career, this is what the band is, and we're going to appeal to the hardcore fans that have stuck around.
Yep.
and we're not going to do nonsense. And so I commend them for that. And it's made the live shows are better, all of that. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and I think Todd handled it well coming back too. He was humble. He gave credit to Jeff. You know, I mean, that was the way to do it. It wasn't like he was coming in puffing up his chest. But the fact is, he can friggin' sing. So why not?
Well, he can sing and he can drum.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
That's what's even more impressive. And you know, I love Scott, and I just felt like for the last decade or more, his drumming just wasn't doing it for me the way that those first 4 or 5 albums did. And when Todd played, I was like, wow, I'm like, this is really good drumming. Like this is something that was missing that you didn't realize was really missing. And you know, I gotta say, I actually like Todd's drumming better than Casey's drumming, but we can get to that later when we get to, you know, that next album. But yeah,
Todd
I
wasn't just
feel like Todd brought this energy.
Yeah, he definitely has chops. He's not like, oh, he's competent, we'll let him play drums. No, he's a very creative drummer.
Yeah. Queensrÿche can be basically boiled down to this: the good, the bad, the Latore. That's what I think. That's
nice. You have
need a rim shot. I like that. All right.
What's your
who's
fact?
up now? Kyle?
Yeah, I'm up.
KG?
Give me something good, because there's some not so good ones I'm looking at here. What do we got?
Oh boy.
There you go.
Okay.
Tribe.
Yeah, Tribe, 2003. So I remember at the time the record company was really touting this as the return of Chris DeGarmo. You know, he came back to write some songs
on 4 or 5 songs.
Yeah,
5 songs.
5 songs. But you know, so there was that hope that there'd be that infusion, that they kind of rekindle the magic there. You know, but the pattern kind of continued, for at least for me as far as songs. I think I liked maybe generously 3 songs on this record. Desert Dance is pretty cool. Open.
Open is good.
Yeah, just like The Art of Life sounded like a leftover Promised Land song. That wasn't too bad, but I just it feel like it plods on. It doesn't know what it is. It just kind of meanders along. You know, but this is like modern rock, post alternative something. You know, the band that I absolutely adored, that I followed and put on my license plate back in the 90s.
Look at that.
That's cool.
More. I mean, it was really, really sad to see that even DeGarmo coming back couldn't save it. And then of course he didn't really stay. You know, I don't know that he ever planned to stay. I think they just advertised it that way. But Tribe for me is a D.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
This was
That's
the
where I
one
had it too.
album this was the one album going back that I actually liked better in going back and listening to
Really?
it, oddly enough. Yeah. This would be a C for me. Yeah, I like it's again, it's nowhere near the good stuff, but yeah, there's good 5 or 6 songs on here that was like, oh, that's not bad. Open I always liked. That was always the song that was like, that was the first single, and when I heard it I was like, oh, we may have an album here. And then nothing else is as good as that song, obviously. But yeah, this one improved in my listening of this time around, for what it's worth.
For me, my D tier pushed this one up to C. So it wasn't like this had really earned the C. Is that others were just, which is, to me, considering how much I love this band, it's really strange when I was doing research on this stuff, and it's like, wow, it's hard to think of any other band that I love so much have albums that I have absolutely zero interest.
It's one of the more unique discographies that you can recall. It's like this 6 of the most awesome things ever, and then 6 of the worst in a row. You can't imagine how that happened. I can't think of another band that happened to.
Yeah, that were so at the top of their game for the genre that they did, and then to just fall off the cliff.
Yeah.
All right, Roy.
Crazy. Oh boy.
Good one.
Well, American Soldier.
Cool concept.
Yep, I'll give it that.
Cool concept, terrible record.
Terrible execution. Yeah. There
So, Kablamo. Tribe moves up to C.
you go.
And the D tier is
Really?
complete.
Wow.
Yeah, another just unlistenable mess.
Really?
And the tour was, oh goodness. The tour was interesting because that was the tour when they played, I want to say, a lot of Rage for Order. It was a lot of Rage for Order and a lot of Empire. It was like, right, I think.
Yeah. That's
And then this album. That's it. It was those were the 3 albums they played. And for this album, he brought out his daughter. He brought out his daughter to sing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it was just weird, man. It's just I don't remember if she was good or bad, to be honest with you, but I remember just being weird. It seemed out of place and odd, and like no one wanted to hear it. The Rage for Order set was killer because they played a bunch of songs they hadn't played in a while. I think I saw that in Anaheim
out here.
at the House of Blues. Yeah,
that.
pretty sure I was out in LA for that.
In 2009, dude, we probably
Was that a year?
Probably
was that
at
a year
the same
that,
show.
Was that a year that you were at NAM? That you had gone over there for NAM? That you caught them when you were out there
Maybe,
too?
but it might have been NAMM. It might have been for something else. I was going to LA a lot at that time. But yeah, those are that's my D tier that I had ranked. Those are the 3. So yeah.
All right.
Right on. Yeah, it was obvious that the metal didn't last. You know, Mindcrime II, warts and all, whatever. At least they were metal again, and then they went to this, and you know, like Vic said, good concept, good idea. You want to honor the soldiers. That's absolutely a great thing, but the execution was it was miserable. Singer songwriter, modern rock.
Yeah.
You know, but what I will say though, when I went back, because I hadn't listened to this thing in years, it did sound like a good album, like sonically. That's the only thing that I would say. You know, it is that, you know, they had this really grungy kind of meandering sound for so many years, and I feel like with this album, it kind of had some of that Empire-ish kind of sparkle to it again.
Yeah, more polished. It was a more polished and higher fidelity. I would agree.
Yeah,
I would. That's a good observation. Yeah.
Okay. For people watching, we do like this band actually.
Yeah, no kidding.
We love this band.
Yeah,
It's a weird thing, man, to go from
a weird thing,
adoring a band and then having records that you just don't listen to, you know.
Yeah.
But the legacy is there, and the respect for all those original.
Well, it's going to start to pick up now.
Now that we're down to these, yeah.
All right, Jeremy, let's go.
Yeah, there you see, right away.
Here we go. All right.
Warning.
Start the praising here. Let's go.
Warning, Take Hold of the Flame, Prophecy. I mean, you know, it's a good album. It's a very good album. It's not S tier for me. This is an A tier.
Okay.
It's good. You know, they're finding who they are. But it's not quite there yet for me. But it's getting there.
It's A tier for me as well, and that's just because of the competition. But you know, when you heard, you know, warning, you like nothing sounded like that. Again, it's kind of class to me. You can debate all day long what's the original progressive metal album. I don't think it's this, because I think they were a classic metal band in the vein of Priest and Dio and Maiden, and they had some progressive elements. You can't deny Roads of Madness is brilliant. You know, almost amazing. 10 minutes long. But then you have NM156, which is singularly its own thing, man. It was just like nobody had heard anything like that in the early 80s. Nobody was thinking about writing stuff like that in the early 80s except for this band.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs by them too. Yeah, I think production wise also it's kind of dated. It's a new band, all that kind of stuff that was going on in the early 80s. But you can tell that that's the building of something really strong. And live now, when you go see them play, and Todd is singing NM156 and some of these songs. It's just awesome. Like it sounds amazing. So yeah, A solid for sure.
Yep, totally.
Okay. Vic.
Let's go.
Oh,
Interestingly enough, full disclosure, this is
Another review.
Prog
Another
Well, you're a
review.
Queensrÿche reviewer guy. Digital
I-
Noise Alliance. That's the last one that they had put out from a couple years ago.
So again, Todd delivering on a very familiar vibe that we all, just really love because of, the top tier albums are just amazing. Really enjoy this album a lot. And the song that sort of stuck out to me because it was different, and not that it is Silent Lucidity, but the song Forest. They actually went to a more ballad style that really just, they perform live. It goes over very well. But man, this album in Extremis, when it starts and you just get the pounding drums and the guitars, again, it just locks in the fact that Todd and Queensrÿche have agreed, as we have discussed, this is what we do. This is our fan base. This is how we're going to go forward. So I'm putting this in B tier.
Whoa.
Again, I see it in the same level as The Verdict, and I do not see it at the same level, even close to Mindcrime II. So but I'm happy with it on B tier. Great album. And it was back in 22. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, all right, they're due to come out with something.
It's already 22. My
That was,
God.
that's why I'm like, it's time for a new album,
old.
Queensrÿche. Let's go.
it's coming. They're working on it.
Yep.
I really like Forest too, and Behind the Walls was amazing,
Great song.
catchy, groovy, riffy, and everything. Definitely could have done without the Rebel Yell cover. It's fine.
I was gonna say.
It's just they didn't put any special sauce on it. It's
I
just
was
sort
like,
of
why is this on here? Yeah.
the rest of the record's really solid. Yeah.
This is my favorite of the Latore records. I think it really works. The production is as good as they've done in a while. Sounds really clean,
production, I think.
really powerful. Sick Death is killer. Behind the Walls, like you said, is killer. Hold On, Tormentum, and Extremis is really good. This is a great album. If for not the albums that are already in A, this would be a contender for A. But I have to agree, it can't be above B with what else we got. But really, really good. And if you haven't checked out the new Queensrÿche, I would say this is the one that I like the best.
Yeah, see, I'm totally not there with you. I would have put this probably in C.
Wow.
For me, based on the other albums which we have, and where I think they should go, I kind of feel like this one didn't measure up to the other Todd albums. And
Really?
Yeah, and even Casey's drumming just didn't quite do it for me. Like it just, there were songs where you could tell that Todd was kind of branching out vocally from being, that Queensrÿche sound to a little more maideny sound and a little more, just not Tate-like, for lack of a better term, which isn't bad. But when I think of a Queensrÿche album and kind of where they had been with these last three albums, this one just kind of felt weaker and not as Queensrÿche to me.
I felt the same. If I had to rank the four, this would be at the bottom for me. But yeah,
Really?
It's
All right.
still
That's
really
funny.
good. Still really
The
good.
first kind of disagreement. All right.
Finally.
Finally.
We're pretty much all
Right?
in agreement.
We need Jeff, because Jeff would have been like, Dedicated to Chaos is great. I love it.
Weren't we doing Frequency Unknown?
All right, so that was you, Vic, or who was that? Who did
That
B?
that was me, because I've gotten
Okay.
the two albums I've written reviews for. So
That's right. Okay.
all right, KG.
Oh,
Oh, there you go.
all right.
All right, Empire.
I think I know this record. This I'm fairly familiar with. It was a new decade, 1990. The 80s were out. What I loved about this record is it was still very metal, but it seemed to me more sophisticated. It seemed to me like they were taking metal in a new direction. Back in the 80s, all us long-haired guys had like bangs, right? And then the 90s came on and we all grew our hair out. Things like that, just little hallmarks of the time. This album to me sort of ushered in metal for the 90s. Perfect album for them to raise in popularity, to be able to play arenas, because you had very singable songs like Empire and Best I Can and Anybody Listening and Jesse Woman, those kinds of songs. But I remember, speaking of Silent Lucidity, you mentioned a minute ago, that obviously was what rose them to that level of becoming a household name on MTV every 5 minutes, all over the radio. I was managing a record store, and the usual metal guys would come in and buy it, and it made sense. Then I started to get a lot of 12-year-old pop girls that were buying like Milli Vanilli and Whitney Houston, and they wanted that new album from Queensrÿche. And I'd be like, you're not going to like it. I promise you're not going to like it. No. They'd buy Madonna and Queensrÿche together, and they'd come back the next day looking sad, and they'd want to return it. And I go, here's a cassette single. You'll love this. And they took Silent Lucidity home.
That's funny.
Yeah,
but it's kind of like what More Than Words did to Extreme, where everybody's like, "Oh, nope, you're going to return it." The
exact opposite of what they are. It was just an anomaly, But for me, I love this album. I mentioned this earlier. I saw them on this tour. This is all the original guys. This was my my license plate as I drove around Virginia in '91.
So cool.
That's cool.
Which eventually changed to D Theater, by the way. But this was sort of my coming of age album, because I had just turned like 19 or I was 20. It was kind of a new decade, out on my own. And here was this band that I had been loving all through the 80s, kind of maturing and making, like I said, sophisticated metal was kind of it for me. So it's S tier for me for sure.
I have a very interesting story about this album. So my entry point was Mindcrime. And I remember when I heard Best I Can, my thought was, okay, they're continuing in that. And then, of course, you had Empire. And those two songs just really, scratched that metal, itch that I always have.
Mm-hmm.
But then initially the rest of the album that was, more progressive and melodic and more sophisticated, at the time being the stubborn teenager who just wanted something that was heavier and faster, all into thrash and everything else. This album was initially not one that I went to. It definitely grew on me. And at the same time that I was learning to play guitar, this was a great album to get into playing guitar, because it wasn't all power chords. Just everything, all the different inversions that you're going up and down the neck on
guitar. Yeah.
And it was something that, Kyle, kind of what you're saying, the maturity of, new decade and being out on your own. It kind of did that for me in a musical way, in a sophistication way. And then, of course, now completely agree. S tier album. And it has nothing to do with the popularity of it. These songs are absolutely just genius. And these guys were, this was their commercial peak, but also musically, I think they really raised the bar so high on this one that, the rest of their career with Tate was, just trying to maintain that progressiveness of doing something new, something sophisticated. But, this album, amazing.
Yeah,
it sounds dated either. I think when I listen to The Warning, it sounds like the early 80s. I think Empire still just sounds like a great classic record, but it doesn't sound old to me.
Yeah, that was really one of the big things for me, was just how great it sounded and how clear and crystal clear that everything was, from all the different sonic parts to even just China cymbals, like Scott's drum sound, and just how crisp and how clear and how just, man, powerful his playing was. Just was really unlike anything else that I had heard in that whole time period. And one other thing about that album, there are so many songs on that album that could have been hits. I when you really look back at it, some of my favorite songs, Resistance,
Yeah.
Della Brown, One and Only. I mean, that song's on fire. That ending of that song, you're like, that's proggy. All right, yeah, this isn't just some hard rock band. All right, yeah, they're kind of going for it there. And then even that song that got kind of left off the album that I think would have been a great song for the album, Last Time in Paris, that was like a B-side that was in the Adventures of Ford Fairlane movie.
Yep.
Wow.
I love that song. I think that song should have been on the album. So it was just, hit after hit after hit. And even like I said, the songs that didn't make it on the radio were just as good as the ones that made it on the radio.
Yeah.
Well, let me get my couple of words in because everybody's loving this record. Yeah, listen, this was a super important album for me. I learned a lot of how to play guitar on this record. At that time, it was the album I listened to every day for a year, probably. I grew up on my dad's Pink Floyd, Genesis, Yes records, and then like at the time, Def Leppard I liked a lot, and there was all those hair bands that we were into and all that kind of stuff that was going on. I had never heard an album like this. I'd never heard those bands make what to me sounded like a Pink Floyd record. Like I'd never heard that. And I was like, this is it absolutely blew my mind. And the thing that I still think is the most impressive thing, but from a playing wise, on this album is the drumming. It's some of the best drumming I've ever heard on an album, and not in terms of it's super complicated. It is so insanely musical.
Yep.
Every fill, every hi hat lift, every China that thing that he used to do with like the China cymbal fills and all that. The Della Brown, yeah, the Della Brown double hi hat kind of drumming. All of it precise and specific, and at a point where you're air drumming it exactly the way it was. Again, it was bringing in that what Neil Peart used to do. And I'm not saying Scott Rockenfield is anywhere in that level. I don't want to be misinterpreted, but it was the mindset of how to play drums. It wasn't just play fast and heavy. It was add your own thing to it, and he did. And it still is best I can. The drumming on that, the middle, like every hi-hat lift with the drum, with the drum fill that he's doing, all of that. I have it all memorized. Like it's ingrained. So yeah, very important record for me. And just a great masterpiece record. All right. I think we talked 20 minutes about Empires. Any last words before we move on?
Yes. Just to go back to what you were saying, the way that the bass and the drums locked in, bass drum kicks and bass lines. I mean, they were so tight, and really you got to go back and just listen to some of these songs and listen to just how locked in they were and how musical they kind of were and drove each song.
So, not a surprise to say, I believe Peter Collins was a producer on this album.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
How about the feathers on his cap? Amazing.
Yeah. Right. Okay. See, we do like this band.
Oh yes.
We just saved last here.
All right.
This is
Roie.
me.
Yep. Condition Human.
Human.
Here we go.
Love this record. Love it. It's really great. It's one of the better ones with Todd La Torre singing. Is this the second one? It's the second one.
Yeah, second one.
That they did with him.
Yes.
I mean, the title track is like anybody listening for this era of the band. It's freaking great. Bulletproof is a really nice sort of melodic song.
Yep.
Our Era of Time is killer. Yeah, love this record. Really good stuff. Again, I just think some of these albums are stuck in B, unfortunately. Again, it's a contender for end of A. It's really, really good. So yeah, but I'm just gonna slide it in B there.
Yeah, I actually had it in A/B. Like it could have gone either way there. But yeah, no, great album.
all the best elements of the first 5 albums are on this album.
Yes.
Go listen to Guardian. It's like Rage meets Empire. It was the perfect hybrid.
Right.
Everything that you loved about this band was back full on with this record.
What struck me when I was researching for this podcast was now knowing that that was Rocket Field's last album. It does have a little bit of that magic sauce from that. I was taken aback. This was probably the album that really stepped it up when I was listening to all these. This is the one that I was like, I forgot how cool this album is. And in context, I remember, Roy, you and I were on a flight somewhere, and you had shared this album with me on your, we were splitting it off of your phone. And that's when we were like, man, these guys it's like, this sounds exactly like they used to. This is awesome. Why isn't this bigger news?
Yeah.
And so, fun album. Context, it was great. This is what convinced me to go back and listen to and have trust in that what Queensrÿche was doing, that I was a fan of again.
Yep. Right on. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Last 4.
Jeremy's up.
Interesting mix of records in here.
Here you go, Jeremy.
Yeah,
Okay.
this album just didn't do it for me.
You preferred Mindcrime II? Is that the?
Yeah, S tier. I mean, what more can we say about this album that hasn't already been said? So many great songs from start to finish. This album, to have a prog band do a concept album and it be this well taken in and just, I don't think there's anyone out there in the prog world who has a bad thing to say about this album. And there have been a lot of bands that have tried doing, a concept album since then. And I don't really feel like anyone has really done as good of a job. So I don't know what else to say about them.
There's some good concept albums out there, but this is, far and away the top of the heap. And you're right. Like you're never talking to another prog guy and they go, yeah, Mindcrime's okay. Like everybody, it's the definition of masterpiece. So I mean, when this record came out, I was a month out of high school and I listened to nothing but this record for like a year. It was like reading a mystery novel or watching a thriller movie or something, where you're trying to figure out the things. And of course there was all your metal friends would talk about who killed Mary. And, there was no Wikipedia, there was no internet. Nobody had that to go to. So you just had to kind of figure it out. But I love this album so much that I had this made back in, I think 1990. I had that airbrushed onto my jacket.
Wow.
Wow.
See, it's all worn and it's definitely seen its day. The guy put some tri-rikes on the sleeve. And I think I got that at on the Empire tour. But I saw the Empire tour 7 times because I was afraid I would never see them do Operation Mindcrime again.
Little did you know.
I know. I would see it dozens of times.
Over and over for the next 30 years.
Which is great. I'll take it every time. And then, what I was alluding to earlier is my wife and I were celebrating our 30th anniversary in Italy this past summer, a couple of months ago. And we'd already booked the trip. Nice. And it was the last, it was the last day of our trip that was already booked. We didn't rearrange anything. And then Jeff announced a special show in the Venice Lagoon on a barge, playing all of Operation Mindcrime. And my wife and I met working at a record store right around that time. She loves Queensrÿche as much as I do. It was like an anniversary concert for us.
That's so cool.
100 people really on this boat. They sounded amazing. His band sounds great. We were literally this far from the guy. I mean, we were pressed up against the stage right next to Jeff Tate's wife and a bunch of other people. But amazing show. He still has it. That album still has it. It has not lost a lick in 37 or whatever years it is now. Great record.
Well, and I had read that he's working on Operation Mindcrime III.
Yep. Yeah. I think there's supposed to be a single like this week, maybe. I think I just heard. Soon, very soon.
Yeah. I'm not sure I expect too much from that, but maybe it will be good.
Maybe that'll go into the D tier.
Again, I won't say much. Masterpiece, love it. One of my all-time favorite records. Still to this day, it holds up amazing. And again, just innovative on every level, from the concept to the song structures to the guitar playing, the way they did it, everything. It's yeah, no doubt, top S tier. And if we did we hadn't done a Queensrÿche one, this might be in the S or A tier of our S tier albums.
Absolutely.
You know, it's in the upper echelon of all the upper echelon albums for me.
Again, I'd be interested to see if anybody that comments on here, A, puts Dedicated to Chaos anywhere higher than D, or puts Mindcrime anywhere lower than S. I would be shocked.
Yeah.
Just the fact that Eyes of a Stranger is on this album, what a perfect ending for one of my all-time favorite concept albums. This was my entry point, and it's amazing how it's just been locked in for all that time. Amazing stuff by the guys. Amazing that this band, Dedicated to Chaos. You know,
well,
that's
and
what a
like
chasm.
how you're referring to the tour. I mean, I must have told this a million times, but the live show was one of the best concerts I've ever seen to this day still.
Yep.
And Live Crime, I have the VHS concert, and I remember watching that when that came home, you know, and I think what I'm realizing in doing this is that the reason why we stuck around through bad album after bad album after bad album in a row was because of just how great these were. Like,
Yes.
they weren't just okay, they were life-changing albums.
Yep.
So you were like, they've
Amen.
got to do it something, right? It was like, this can't end here. You know, it's very weird. Very weird. All right, let's move on. We got the last few.
Well
here.
said. I'm up. Oh, come on.
I feel like
Gosh.
yeah.
Go
Okay.
on, Kyle. Show us.
Okay.
Show us, Kyle.
No. I'm hold on a second. I think
You want to give this one to Kyle?
I'm going to give this one to Kyle. I think I'm giving this to Kyle. It just, you know, come on. We
just feels
opened
appropriate.
showing that just like remember when we did Fate's Warning and I let Jeff have oh goodness, I forgot the name of the album. Fate's Warning.
Awaken the Guardian.
The Awaken the Guardian. And I left Wagner have his moment because he's perfect for that. KG, take it over, bud.
Vic, you're a gentleman and a scholar, and I'm going to give you a big old hug in a week at Morspest. Thank you, brother. Thank you. This record, so it's so funny. For 3 decades now, my favorite record of all time, gentlemen, is
Rage for Order.
No,
these two should know this.
I don't know.
They're going to get smacked around.
No,
When Dream and Day Unite, said no one.
Yeah, sorry, I said the tip of my tongue, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yes. I vouch for that. Yes.
No, I totally knew that, and I went blank.
I have maintained since 1989 When Dream and Day Unite is my favorite album of all time. I am literally the only person on the planet that thinks that, but that's fine. It's another story, another podcast. But I have maintained all those decades that Mindcrime was my second favorite album of all time. I mean, I didn't waver from that for the longest time. And something has happened, gentlemen. I don't know what it is, but something has changed in me. Obviously, this is only within the last couple of years that I started doing this. And when I decided on what Queensrÿche album I was going to put there, somehow Rage has moved into that top spot. Now, tomorrow we can flip flop back and forth, but summer of '86, I'm at the beach with my best friend in Nags Head, North Carolina. We run into this kid named Chris Foy. Chris, if you're out there, hit me up. He played me Walk in the Shadows, and I hadn't heard Queensrÿche before then, but I went, what is this? This doesn't sound like any kind of metal I've heard before. And I didn't realize it was the birth of a genre, basically. To me, the very first true prog metal album is this one. I absolutely adore every song. I think it's a perfect album. I think it's so diverse and varied. You've got songs like London, The Whisper, I Dream in Infrared, Nuit Regal, I Will Remember, Surgical Strike. I mean, there's just so many amazing songs. But talk about the time period that this was, 1986. There were personal computers, but not everybody had them. They were pretty few and far between. This album is about AI. It's about technology. It's about computers. I mean, things that nobody was thinking about in 1986. It's so far beyond. The production with Neil Kernan made this thing sound pristine and clean. And, you know, it literally was its own thing. It stood out amongst every other record. You had bands that were, you know, writing nothing but a good time. And here they are talking about, you know, artificial intelligence when nobody knew what that was at the time. But for me, the standout track is Screaming in Digital. To this day, hairs on the back of my neck go up, man. Nobody was making music at that level.
That song makes no makes no sense being in '86. It makes literally no sense.
It's like a creator typing code into a computer, and the code is talking to its creator saying, "Are you my father?" What? Who thinks of even a concept like that, but much less is able to execute it in such a beautiful, beautiful way. So yeah, Rage has become my top album, and I don't know that I knew that. That's not where I want it. I was going to put it in C, but I guess you can put it there. Yeah, we can have the debate all day long. Other prog metal guys, what was the very first prog metal album? Some people say it was Fate. Some people say it was Watchtower, whatever. They were all kind of neck and neck. To me, this is the very first prog metal album, and S tier all the way up, man. Love
it. Yeah, love it. I mean, I went, like I said, I went from Empire back to Mindcrime back, and then wanted more, and went and bought this. Had never heard anything other than Walk in the Shadows at the concert, and was blown away. Like, it's such a weird record. Like, it makes no sense that this band was putting these different styles and things together. Killing Words is an amazing ballad. I will remember at the end, like you said, Whisper. Oh, and that cover, I Gotta Get Close to You.
Yeah,
it's like the craziest song. Yeah, but Screaming in Digital is definitely that is the top number on there, and it's wild. It's such a great song. Masterpiece record.
Yep.
I was mentioning how Mindcrime was my entry point with Empire, and then it was like a little bit too sophisticated and it had to grow on me. That reaction is what made me say, well, let me go the other direction and listen to Rage for Order. And even though it's not the, metal, that Mindcrime was, just their style and just the mood they set. And, I was definitely a big fan of that album from day one. So
thank you for letting me have that one, Vic. I owe you, brother.
It has to be, KG. It has to be.
So Vic, are you going to spin now again?
I will spin now.
Okay.
We'll keep it short and sweet with these two guys.
Okay. The Queensrÿche self-titled album, the first one with Todd LaTorre. So,
which was a relief to listen to this for the first time. Keep it short and sweet. Take that, put it in B. Operation Mindcrime II down to C, please.
There you go.
Nice.
So, it's interesting. Again, you have the 6 of top classics. You've got the 4 with Todd, and then you've got the rest on the bottom for us to not spend too much time on. But this specific album, it was a hope, a relief that, as Roie had mentioned earlier, yes, amazing albums that they had come up with, and they came up with this, and it's like, wow. It's almost the same reaction that I had when Death Magnetic came out from Metallica. Metallica had deviated from their, garage thrash type stuff. Death Magnetic comes out and it's like, oh yes, here it is again. Yep. That's what this album did for me. So not disrespecting it, it's in B tier because you've got some amazing all-time albums above that. But thank goodness for the direction that they took on this and that they maintain today.
We actually did not, when we decided to do 4 albums in B, it was not with the intention of leaving a spot for the 4 Todd LaTorre albums, but it really was completely random. But it's interesting that it worked out like that because it really, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's what I said before, the good, the bad.
And
the LaTorre,
but to be clear, I would say S, A, B, and then way down C and D. I don't think the CMDs are even close to the B tier.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I got the last spin here. I like that self-titled
What's it gonna
record.
be?
It's a very it's like you said, it was just refreshing to go back to that kind of sound.
Yep.
And it was
It was
nice.
what we were waiting for.
Yeah, a lot of good songs on it. So interesting story with Q2K. I was working at Atlantic Records at the time when they signed Queensrÿche for this album. And people that worked there knew that I was a fan, and I got to, you get the advance early, you're listening to it, all that kind of stuff. And I was in a weird spot because, again, at that time, I wasn't that far removed from the Empire, Promised Land era, only Here and Now Frontier in between. And Q2K, for all its flaws, clearly a better record than Here and Now Frontier. Right Side of My Mind alone is better than every song on Here and Now Frontier put together. So that was a great song.
Yeah.
Liquid Sky was pretty good. Beside You was pretty good. Breakdown was good.
Mhm.
It's a solid record. It's not all the way metal. It's still living in that almost grungy area, but they're trying to let some other stuff in. Like I said, Right Side of My Mind. That's a great song. It's that could have been on Promised Land, and I would have been fine. So, but it just, you knew it still wasn't all the way Queensrÿche. But it's the best of the bottom 6 albums for me, because of that. So it is going to go in C, but it's the best of the 6, I think. Anyway.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah. It was an album. It was an album. No, yeah, I agree. It had some good stuff. I like Falling Down and Sacred Ground, and there's definitely a few good songs. And it's funny you mentioned Atlantic. I was just going through my CDs upstairs, which I never look at anymore. But I got a sampler from Atlantic, and it has basically all the songs that you and I just mentioned, like the best songs that are on there.
Yeah.
I actually liked Here and Now Frontier better because there were 15 songs to choose from. I liked about 8 of them, and here I only like 5 or 6. But 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Right Side of My Mind was a nice relief out of everything else that's been going on for these middle records, or later records.
There was that live album that they did right after this one came out, Live Evolution, where they did like 5 or 6 songs from different records in groupings, right? And then if I remember correctly, I may be wrong here. From Here and Now Frontier, they did Hit the Black and Spool, and then they did like 3 more from this one, and they were the good, like Right Side of Mind, like the good. And so if you had that kind of grouping of the best songs from those 2 albums, and then the other stuff was Promised Land, Empire, Mindcrime, Rage for, it was actually, it kind of worked. That was like a good mix of like, okay. So, and it was what it was. But anyway, I you know what? I think we nailed it. There's no bumping. Well, there was one bumping of a record, but no, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think we're good.
Mindcrime II.
What do you want to do with A? Does Warning go ahead of Promised Land?
Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with that. If it wasn't just a 4-song,
I think we got to move Condition Human to the front of this one.
I would agree there.
That's where I'm at with that.
Yeah.
And then Mindcrime II above Tribe.
Yeah. At least.
And Dedicated to Chaos. We'll bump American Soldier up 1.
Out of respect, sure.
Does this work? I think this works.
For me, yeah. It's so funny. I wondered if there'd be any conflict, but we're all pretty much, and I think most Queensrÿche fans are probably in agreement with that bar graph of just things just got progressively worse for a while.
No, it's for those that are looking for excitement, like what happened with the Steven Wilson solo. This ain't it. This ain't it.
But it is great to talk about the really good records and just give this band some love, because they're one of the great bands in our world, no doubt about it.
Yeah. And for whatever happened relationally between them, that whole thing sucked and everything. Those 5 guys making those first 5 records. I mean, they were untouchable in the genre. They helped create an entire genre. They laid the foundation along with Fates and along with Dream Theater for so many other bands that we love. So you got to give them respect. I think Jeff's doing his thing solo and he's sounding great and having fun. I love having Todd and Queensrÿche, and it's kind of a win-win. It's like when a kid gets divorced and they have 2 Christmases. Kind of sucks, but at the same time they get presents from both sets.
You gotta look on the bright side.
Exactly.
All right.
So really quick, just a one-off kind of Sweet Oblivion. If you check out the first Sweet Oblivion album, and it was Simone Mullerani, the guitarist, he came up with what sounds like pretty much a Queensrÿche thing with Jeff Tate singing. If there was a way of putting that in here, I would actually put it in B tier. I like it.
It is a good record. It's forgotten about a lot, but it's good. It's very it's some good stuff on there, and Jeff sounds good on it. So yeah.
Exactly. So anyways, that's all I wanted to say for that.
Okay, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Love to know if you agree or disagree on any of these. I think I would imagine maybe the biggest disagreement would be some people think the warning should be an S, which I would not be surprised about. But yeah. Anyway, thanks again. Check out our other Wheel of Progs, other interviews, other stuff going on the channel, and we'll see you all again real soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, thanks for checking out the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on all our socials and progreport.com, and we'll see you all again real soon. Thanks.